Hey guys, so I hope you all are doing well. And today I've got this Li-Ning Windlite 800 racket. So I basically got this racket for around 2900 rupees. And because I've mentioned uh, in the title 700 and 900, so let me tell you that there are some more racket like Li-Ning Windlite 900 and Li-Ning Windlite 700. So there is not much difference between these three rackets. Just the difference is the color fraction and a bit of performance, but everything is the same. The size, the grip size, the weight of the racket, and plus you can see the maximum string tension and also everything is the same. The pricing is also the same. It is not much differing. Like it will cost you from 28,000 2800 to I think till 3200, so you can get any one of those.
A few moments later.
So finally we have managed to just have a look at a racket after we took it out from the cardboard box, and we keep it aside, and then we see the cover, the typical Li-Ning cover. Cover is good. As you can see, the quality as expected. You won't expect much from this Li-Ning covers. From I think from the range of 1000 rupees to the range of 10,000 or maybe 12,000, you will get the same cover. There is no much difference in this. So let's keep it aside, and then we look at this beautiful racket we have got. So you can see, and let me show you first. The price of the racket is mentioned as 5,990. Is it was imported in March 21, and Winlight 800 as the name suggests. So this is the thing. Okay, so first when we talk about the weight of this racket, this is a 5U racket and the weight of the racket is 79 grams, which is very less, just 2 gram more than the mm, Yonex Nano Ray Light 18i. So yes, the swing will be really good in this racket. I must say that if you're looking for a very lightweight racket in a budget range, you can go for this racket. Surely this will do the job for you. Then if we talk about the stiffness of the shaft, this is a medium stiff. So medium stiff means that this is an intermediate level of racket. This is not very professional and not also meant for the beginners, because this is a heavy head racket, and if you're a beginner, please don't go with a heavy head racket because you don't have the technique, you don't have the skills to just perform with this racket, and you may injure your hand or your wrist playing with this racket. So please don't do that. Only professionals and intermediate player who know how to handle the heavyweight rackets and they know how to warm up the body, they can only play with this racket. But if you want to try, of course you can go, but I would not recommend you to go with this racket. So this is a medium flex racket. The flexible rate is just medium. So when we talk about the flexibility of the racket, there is a medium flex and there is one flexible and very stiff. So the players who are very professional, they use stiff racket. Stiff means that this shaft, it is a bit movable, it is a lot movable, it can move a lot. So when you are just hitting a shot or when you are clearing a shot, you just take your racket back, and then when you exert it forward, this shaft portion, this moves. So then if you are hitting a smash or if you are clearing the shuttle, it won't exert, it will just come forward and it will exert more pressure and more force into the shot. So only professionals are doing that. Only professionals are playing with the very stiff racket, and then comes a flexible racket which is for the beginners. So this shaft portion, this is not at all movable, and when it is not movable, it's not really, it's not very tough to clear the shots for the beginners, because as a beginner you should look forward to clear the shot first, then you should opt for any other things. But as I said, this is a medium flex, so this is meant for the intermediate players or very semi-professional players like I am. Plus this is a head heavy racket. So head heavy basically means that the balance point of the racket is more toward this side and this is the heavy side. So heavy head racket means that this is good for smashing, and as I'm a singles player, this will suit my game because it is very light, and also doubles player can also go with this racket, but with a of course heavy very offensive strings. But when we talk about the defensive players or singles player, they should have their own preference when talking about the string and all. So I have not talked about the material of this frame and all. So this is made of carbon fiber, and Li-Ning has a special technology of carbon, so they can just reduce the weight of the racket. And if they reduce the weight of the racket, the swings becomes really easy. It is really easy to swing the racket. So this is one good feature about this. And of course the 4U grip, the typical 4U grip which we get with this racket. So of course there is no joint, no T joint in the racket, which you will expect from these rackets. Now when we talk about the strings which we should go in this racket, so basically I'm a singles player, and my type of game is very offensive, because when I was not playing badminton as at a very high level, I used to just like smashing and all, so that just reflected in my game. Though badminton is not a game of smashing and all, it is a game of deception, it is a great game of great skills. So now the very important question which people do ask is, what is the perfect string and the perfect string tension? So basically, as I've told you, I'm a very offensive player in singles. So I will go with Li-Ning number 1, which has a gauge of 0.65, and I will strung it at 26 lbs. If you're a professional, you can go with 28 lbs, because there is a thumb rule. If the maximum tension is 30, you can just figure it out and go 2 steps below and gut it at 28 to increase the life of your racket. And if you're a sponsored player, no worry, you can gut it at 30 lbs, because your sponsor will take the responsibility if racket has any wear and tear. So I will go with Li-Ning number 1 at 26 lbs. Now if you're a defensive player in badminton, you can go with Nano G95, Nano G99, BG65 Titanium or BG65 for a very defensive game, because this is a heavier racket. And if you want your game to be very balanced, you can go with this defensive, or these medium strings. But if you want your game to be very offensive, you just rely on offensive game, you can go with Li-Ning number 1, which I recommend, then BG66 and Adidas F66 and all other strings with a gauge or 0.65 and below. You can go with those all strings, and also 0.6 is gauge, that is also a very offensive strings. But remember, if you do go for offensive strings, there is a good chance that it won't last much, because you can't ask anything else from the offensive strings. Reason, offensive strings are very thin and they don't have the material. Because if we talk about the defensive strings, they are very thick and they don't retain the tension, but they just increases, their tension increases, they don't retain the tension, because they just, you can say, they don't retain their shape. So the material is good, that is why they don't break easily. But when we talk about the thin strings, with which are the offensive strings, they don't have the material, they are very thin. So if there is any wear and tear, or if you're not really perfect, if you're not timing the shot from your sweet spot, which is the center spot, then there is a good chance that your string may break, I'm sorry, that there is a good chance that your string may break very easily. So if only you are very you are very expert in this game, you are very skilled, and you should go for the offensive string. And plus the string tension, of course, first thing to consider is, the more string tension, the more the more power you can generate in the smash. That is not really true. The amount and the number of times you will hit the sweet spot, that will generate the speed, not the string tension. String tension is just a personal choice, that is nothing to be relatable to the game, but that is your choice what string tension you are comfortable with. Because a string tension of 32 lbs, that will also generate the same power and the same amount of deceptive play you can play with that. So it's all up to you and your game which is suiting you. So I will get this racket and then tell you how it goes. So here is the review part of this racket, and just guys, one word for this racket, that is just fabulous. You can hear the voice. So the pleasant noise of the strings, new strings, and that is the most pleasant thing which you can hear from your ears. So I tested this racket Windstorm 800 for around 3 months, and I'm really pleased with this racket. So this is the second time when I've gutted this racket with a Li-Ning number 1 string, and I'm pretty amazed by the performance. So this is of course an intermediate racket, so I don't need to clarify that clearing the second line is very Herculean task. No, it is not. This racket does not demand any master class from your wrist to clear the second line. Of course, the clearance is very nice from this racket. You will get value for your backhand shots as well, and value for your smashes as well. One thing which I feel from this racket is like your net play can be really good. Like it feels really lighter, though this racket is weighing 77 grams, and after I got it, this racket is weighing around 84 grams or 83 grams, which is a standard category. But the I don't know what is the material, but Li-Ning has are designing such rackets that the performance is such great that when you are hitting the net dribbling, you are just dribbling the shuttle, or when you are hitting the smashes, it is just value for your shots. Like if I'm hitting my smash from the last line, from the second line to this corner, it is actually pinpoint precision shot. Like, but it all depends on your string as well. So I think Li-Ning number 1 is tailor made for this racket. The combination of both the strings and this racket is just too good. So last but not the least, I've already told you about what string you should apply. If you're looking for uh, the official Li-Ning strings, if you're a defensive player, go with Li-Ning number 7, that will suit your purpose. Or if you want a balanced game, go with Li-Ning number 5. And of course, if you are very offensive, go with Li-Ning number 1 for outright winners. Li-Ning number 1 is of course preferred by singles player. If you are a doubles player, I would ask you to go with BG80 or any string with a gauge of 0.68. I guess 0.68 or 0.67 will be perfect for the doubles player. Also, if you want some more attacking strings, this Adidas Ubishol F66 will also serve the purpose. Of course, BG66 will also serve the purpose, and BG65 if you are a very defensive player. And for the defensive player and for the ones who want durability in their racket, I don't think that this is a intermediate racket and you want durability, because performance matters for an intermediate player. But still, if you want, BG65 can be a choice. And then the medium range strings, Kizuna Z69 will do the favor, Nano G95, and if you want a cheap version, go with Gosen G-Tone 9. So these strings can be preferred. String tension which I kept was 28 lb, but again the one problem is if you hit the shuttle from this outside corner, you have to hit the spot consistently. So this is one problem. This is a very offensive racket, and you need to warm up before playing with this. If not, then you may hurt your shoulder and it may cause some injury. So overall, really happy with my buy, really happy with the racket. Everything is going good. The line clears are good, the smashes are value for you can say powering, not value for money. I would say, like, it is just valuable. Like if you're hitting a smash, it is valuable. And outright winners are also very good. Like I can draw the opponent to one corner, and if I smash to that corner, that will be so furious that it may be very tough for a player. Like this racket is performing really good overall. It feels rich in the hands. The control of the racket is also very good, which I can feel. The control is really good. So overall, really happy with the performance, and I hope you like my video. If you did like, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, because I'll be coming up with more racket stuffs in the future as well. And if you want any suggestions on what strings you should buy or what string tension you should gut this racket or any other racket, then drop a comments in the sections below, or you can also DM me on Instagram. So as of now, I hope you like my video, and bye bye for now.